NASCAR has opened up a brand new era with the 2025 Coke 600, the streaming era. With it being actually pretty new when it comes to the media landscape, NASCAR is actually keeping up with the competition with this. And this is also the first Cup partner that's new to the series since Fox in 2001. So there was a lot of pressure going into it, and in general, the reviews are glowing. People who actually watched it and didn't just complain on the internet about it said that it was some of the best broadcasting they've ever seen. A lot of people comparing it to the way NASCAR was treated in its heyday, which is something that is incredibly refreshing to talk about. And I want to talk today about why it was great, and these reasons being why I think it will only continue to be great and be better. The first part is they treated the sport with respect. After 14 races of Fox, it was so refreshing not having it being treated like a really crappy comedy hour and not being treated like a complete joke by those both on the screen and off the screen. See, these guys had fun up in the booth, and the entire crew did. The booth, for instance, had a ton of fun and would joke around a little bit. But with Adam Alexander, Steve Letarte, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., the real key here is that two of them at a time would really joke around or have fun with it, and one would always rein them back. And to me, it felt a lot, and I know people aren't going to see it necessarily this way, but it felt a lot like the way that Fox Sports treated NASCAR I would say 2015 or 16. Back in its heyday, where they had fun. It maybe not have been that much of a joking way about it, but they had fun with it. And it was kind of a mix of that, what made NBC great in this current deal, the last deal, and the first deal they were in, and even what made kind of ABC and ESPN from about 2011 to 2014 get so good, as well as having new flares, new different things to talk about, new gadgets, and all of that. I thought it was the perfect mix of old and new, and you could tell that with Dale Jr. having a lot of creative control, and in general, them having a lot of time to get ready for this, you could tell that everybody involved did their homework, knew what fans wanted, what we were saying, and delivered for the most part. Was it completely perfect? No. Audio things probably need to be ironed out a little bit more, and you could tell that a lot of the newbies or those who had maybe not been broadcasting for a while were either rusty or really nervous. But that stuff will pass with time and more practice being live on the air. That's another thing about being live on the air. We had great pre- and post-race shows. Now, while I say great, I will say I think the pre-race show was admittedly a little bland, but it had energy. It was bland in the sense that it was any other good pre-race show we've seen. It was way better than some of the stupid skits that Fox would do for a long time, and it wasn't overbearing with playoff talk the way that NBC's has been. It, to me, was really old school. With the crowd behind it as well, it gave you that mid-2000s feel. Now, many said that it was like NASCAR Race Day, and I remember watching those, and I've rewatched a couple on Voti's channel recently, and I'll say there were some similarities, but I don't see that as much. Where I think the inspiration came from, maybe it was from stuff that NBC did with Dale Jr. and Steve Letarte, but I think also when you look back, for instance, at a race like the 2011 Daytona 500, where it was almost the same spot on the track, with the same places for fans to be, and you had that great energy. And you know what? I'm here for it, because that was one of the most fun broadcasts I ever got to watch, and I didn't even like tandem racing at that point. And I'll say the post-race lasting over an hour, having in-depth coverage of what happened with the race, tons of interviews, having drivers come up on stage with the people that are talking similar to what Thursday Night Football would do. Awesome move again. And I think that fans needed this, because in my opinion, fans should not have to rely on YouTubers like myself or journalists that have podcasts as well solely for an in-depth post-race that talks about what they want to talk about. The broadcast should, and I think is, beholden to doing that. So I love that Prime knows that as well. And that's part of the third thing I really think is great about it. There is no time constraints for the window. Why is this the future? Why? Because of this. Because you're able to let the broadcast breathe more. You're not in a rigid structure the way that old dinosaur television is. So many times we would lose the broadcast if it wasn't a perfect set of circumstances to fit in the time window. For instance, rain. If you had rain, you might get pushed to cable if you're on NBC or Fox. If there's other programming going on or a big show, you might need to hurry up and have no post-race show for it. Last year with the Brickyard 400, we missed portions of the race because there was breaking news of the president dropping out of the race. There were red flags all in the past with NASCAR that would cut into it. These are theoretically not a concern anymore, these problems, because they can take all the time they need to let their broadcast breathe as long as Prime is willing to keep the airwaves open. And another part is there were way less commercials. Via the @BrettB account on X, who put up some statistics from J-Ski, great follows for both of them, there were some starkly contrasting statistics between the 2022 Coke 600, which was the last one that was the most comparable to how this one was broadcasted. When you look at total time under commercials, in 2022 with Fox, it was 26.667% of the broadcast, compared to Prime's 17.832. When it came to traditional full-screen commercials over the race broadcast, Fox had 22% of their broadcast under full-screen commercials compared to Prime's 3%. And side by side, it was about 4.5% when it came to the Fox side of things compared to nearly 15% for Prime. Prime also had promised they would not be going under full-screen commercial with Green Flag Racing. And in a race that was virtually the same amount time-wise, there were 85 less commercials for the Prime broadcast, and 21 more companies were shown and were on these commercials in this. So there was more bang for your buck. And the last 64 laps of the race were commercial-free. In my opinion, Fox just is so far behind in this aspect, and Prime knocked it out of the park. And I'll say this, the fifth reason and the last and biggest reason why I think this is so great is because this is the first one. Theoretically, it gets better from here. They improve on the problems they had. They get better with racing broadcasts. Let's remember, this is Prime's first broadcast in racing, period. They're probably only going to get better. They were way better than Fox with NASCAR, and they were way better than Fox that day after they botched the finish and the entire race broadcast of the Indy 500. Fox completely screwed the pooch, whereas NASCAR and Prime, I think, were the shining stars of the day. Now with that, I want to pass it on to you. What did you think of Prime's NASCAR coverage? Were you one of those that was really excited, or were you one of those that were upset? I do have a video for many of you tomorrow. While you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great and fun NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support, and until next time, have a good one.